Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this uncomfortable scenario, and honestly, this might hit a little close to home for a lot of us. You work your standard 40 hours a week, right? You get your paycheck, you pay your bills, and maybe, just maybe, if you're super careful, you manage to squirrel away a little bit of savings. And yet, you still feel like you're going absolutely nowhere. It's like no matter how hard you grind, you're constantly just one bad month away from absolute panic.
Section 1. The Broken Salary System.
$50,000. Honestly, here is the uncomfortable truth that most people just never face. That constant gnawing feeling of living paycheck to paycheck, well, the analysis makes it super clear. It's not because you're lazy and it's not just bad luck. You're operating inside a fundamentally broken system. A system that, let's be real, we were never taught how to escape. Think about this. The average American spends 40 entire years literally trading their time for money. 4 decades. And at the end of all that, the majority retire with less than $50,000 in savings. Less than 50 grand. It's because of the basic mechanics of how employment actually works. Every single hour you work, you produce way more value than you're actually paid. That gap between what you produce and what you earn, that's your employer's profit margin. You're literally building their wealth, their freedom, instead of your own.
Meanwhile, let's look at what's happening at home. You pay rent on a place you're never actually going to own. You buy a car that loses value the literal second you drive it off the lot. And you put whatever tiny bit of cash is left into a standard savings account that is quietly, slowly losing the race against inflation. You aren't building wealth, my friends. You're just treading water. And the tide is rising. Now, let's be super clear before we go any further. The goal here isn't to just march into your boss's office and quit your job tomorrow. We're not talking about some miraculous 30-day laptop lifestyle scam. The goal is a fundamental ground-up shift in how you operate.
Section 2. The Asset-Based Mindset Shift.
It all starts with one absolutely crucial question. Is your money working for you, or are you just working for your money? You see, truly wealthy people don't just earn cash. They deploy it. They treat every single dollar like a tiny, highly dedicated employee. They send those little dollar employees out into the wild and fully expect them to come back with reinforcements. That right there is the whole essence of asset-based living.
But to play this game, you kind of have to know the rules, right? Made famous by Robert Kiyosaki, the simplest rule in all of finance is basically this. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out. Boom. That's it. That is the entire wealth-building game distilled down into just 2 simple sentences.
So here's the crucial pivot. We need to totally redefine what you currently own. Most people naturally think their house is an asset. But listen, if you're paying a mortgage every month and just living in it, it's actually a liability. It's actively costing you money every single month. Your car? A total liability. What about those 5 streaming subscription services? Yep, liabilities. They are quietly bleeding your wealth dry, $11.99 at a time. They literally consume your wealth. An asset, on the flip side, produces income or actually goes up in value while you're sleeping, while you're at your day job, while you're just living your life.
Section 3. 4 accessible wealth assets.
So the big question is, how do we actually get our hands on some of these assets? Well, we're going to walk through 4 highly practical solutions that, as the data shows, do not require you to already be rich to start building. We're talking real estate, human capital, business income, and strategic commodities. Let's go ahead and tackle the one that usually intimidates people the most right out of the gate.
Asset number 1 is real estate. Now I know, you might be sitting there thinking, I definitely can't afford to buy a house. Well, the good news, you don't have to. The analysis highlights a really fascinating concept called ghost renting. Ghost renting is basically arbitraging the difference between renting a multi-room property and then subletting out the additional rooms. You aren't the owner, you're the operator. It's a way to participate in real estate without needing a massive down payment and without getting a mortgage.
Let's actually break down exactly how this works in the real world. Step 1. You rent a 3-bedroom apartment for, say, $1,800 a month in a decent-sized city like Atlanta or Phoenix. Step 2. With the landlord's explicit permission, super important, you sublet those 2 extra rooms for maybe $700 to $800 each. Step 3. You collect that rental difference, which is about $1,400 to $1,600, right back into your pocket. Suddenly, you are nearly covering your entire housing cost. Is it a bit of hustle and work? Well, yeah, but it's entirely possible without ever actually owning the property. Now, let's say you eventually do want true ownership, but you absolutely do not want the headache of fixing clogged toilets at 2 a.m. or dealing with difficult tenants. You can look into REITs, or real estate investment trusts. These are essentially funds that own commercial and residential properties. The cool part is you can invest in them exactly like you'd buy normal stocks for as little as $10, and you get a share of that rental income paid straight out to you as dividends. It is literal real estate exposure without a single repair call.
Let's shift gears to asset number 2, human capital. Stop and think about every physical and financial asset in the world for just a second. Stocks can crash, right? Real estate goes through boom and bust cycles. Even gold fluctuates. But there is exactly one asset on the planet that cannot be taken from you, cannot depreciate to zero, and cannot be inflated away by a bad economy. And that is the knowledge, the skills, right inside your own head.
The gap between highly skilled and unskilled labor is growing faster than ever. And the skills we're looking at here, these are the exact ones the market is desperately hunting for. Sales and persuasion. Look, if you can clearly communicate value, you will literally never go broke. AI fluency. We are just in the first 5 years of this massive revolution, and the data shows that individuals who can build AI workflows are incredibly valued in today's market. And then there's financial literacy itself. Taking a simple $300 online course to master just one of these high-income skills can yield a practically infinite return on investment. You invest the cash once, and you earn from that specialized knowledge for decades.
Next up is asset number 3, business income. And we really need to destroy a massive myth right now. You absolutely do not need to build some crazy Silicon Valley tech startup backed by millions in venture capital. But we do need to clearly separate a standard side hustle from a true business asset. A side hustle just means you're trading more of your already exhausted time for a little bit of money. A business asset, however, is a scalable system. It generates revenue even when you physically step away from the keyboard. It's all about leverage and control. Look at these examples of small, perfectly boring, yet highly profitable businesses. A digital product like a handy template pack that you build one single time and then sell forever. A content channel like a newsletter that steadily builds an audience over time. Or a solo service business, maybe a specialized bookkeeping agency. Earning just $500 a month from a business you actually own and control is worth infinitely more than a $500 raise from your boss. Why? Because that raise from your boss has a very strict, hard ceiling. Your business asset, it has absolutely no ceiling. Okay, our fourth and final asset usually surprises a lot of people. It's strategic commodities. We're basically defining these as physical objects that act as a hedge against inflation. They hold or even increase in value completely independent of any single country's currency. Now, this is a massive mental shift for folks who only ever view physical goods through the lens of pure consumer spending.
Most people just buy things to consume them, or, let's be honest, to show off some status. And that does absolutely nothing for your net worth. But look at this list. Gold historically outpaces inflation over almost every 20-year period in modern history. A limited-run Rolex Submariner, purchased brand new, doesn't immediately depreciate like a Honda Civic does. It actually appreciates, kind of like prime real estate. Now, this isn't about buying fancy luxury items just to feel rich. It's about training yourself to ask one critical question before making any large purchase. Is this a consumer decision or is this a capital decision? Basically, will this item consume my wealth or will it store it?
Section 4. The income stacking strategy. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it all comes together. Juggling 4 totally separate assets might sound completely overwhelming, but the goal isn't to build one massive, stressful business empire. It's to build 3 or 4 small, reliable income streams. Right now, for most people, a solo salary is a dangerous single point of failure. If you lose that job, your entire financial life basically collapses. But with the income stack strategy, your salary covers your basic needs. Your ghost renting sublet covers your housing costs. Your digital product brings in nice extra cash, and your REITs quietly generate passive income in the background. None of these individual slices are going to magically make you a millionaire overnight. But when they are stacked together, they create something far, far more valuable: resilience. Options, real financial breathing room. When you have multiple streams of income pouring in, you finally have true freedom. You can stop living in constant fear of the next recession. You can stop taking abuse from a terrible manager just because you desperately need that next paycheck. You finally have an exit strategy. Section 5. Your financial action plan. Listen, The modern consumer debt system is meticulously designed to keep you dependent. It wants you working, spending, borrowing, and then working some more. Escaping it doesn't require hitting the lottery. It requires a deliberate, conscious decision to start acting on purpose, starting right now. So I'm leaving you with a very concrete challenge for this month. Stop waiting for the mythical right moment, because spoiler alert, it's never coming. Pick one of these two actions. Number 1, find any stagnant cash just sitting in a low-yield checking account, seriously, even if it's just $200, and move it to a high-yield account, a REIT, or a solid index fund so it can actually start outpacing inflation. Or number 2, identify one skill you already possess today and just research what someone will pay you for it on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. Literally just do the research. Small intentional moves, done consistently over time, will change absolutely everything.
I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with this final, incredibly powerful thought from the analysis. Your financial freedom is not a fantasy. It's a strategy. If diving into this opened your eyes to a totally new way of looking at your paycheck, please share this explainer with someone else in your life who might be feeling trapped by their salary. And definitely don't forget to subscribe so we can keep breaking down these blueprints to building real wealth. Let me leave you with this one question to think about. When you open up your banking app and look at your account tomorrow morning, are you looking at a final destination, or are you finally looking at a launching pad?